The telecom sector grows more and more eager to reap the benefits from pouring billions of investments into 5G network deployments. As time goes by, though, many telcos don't see the promised revenues yet. Why is this the case, and how can the ecosystem move forward with an accelerated pace of both adoption and investment returns? To find out, I'm delighted to be joined by Rick Hamilton, CEO of Infovista. Hi, Rick. To start off, you have recently joined Infovista as CEO. What is your perspective on the company after a few months in the driving seat? And what can we expect from Infovista?
Yeah, thanks, Yannick. It's really exciting to be here at Infovista. I tell the team internally that I have a long history with Infovista. Many may not know, some will know. The company's been around in the telco space for more than 25 years, and yeah, so I've worked with them for a very long time. In terms of what you can expect, Infovista has had a long history of providing intelligence to network operators. It actually started as a performance management company, and it's grown in recent years to sort of cover the full life cycle of the deployment of 5G networks and how they're run and how they're operated. So it is a really, really exciting time for us as a company, and I'm super happy to be here. So it's been great. It's been great getting to integrate into the company, and it's been great to see what's going to happen in the future.
That's good to hear. And 5G rollouts, and in particular 5G standalone networks, are proceeding slower than many in the industry hoped for and expected. How do you see the state of the market, and what roadblocks do operators need to overcome?
Well, I think it's true that the rollout, the use of and the monetization of 5G networks is slower than all of us would have anticipated. I mean, clearly, the biggest roadblock today has got nothing to do with technology. It's probably more to do with economics and finances. I mean, the last 12 months or more have been pretty interesting in terms of the world economic situation, inflation rates, and the cost of capital and interest rates. It's making it very difficult for operators to continue that rollout. So I'd say financially, it's impeding that. And secondarily, you've got consumers who are sort of checking up on their spend, and enterprises who are starting to become very cautious about where and what they're spending on. So I think those are probably the major roadblocks that we see today. I don't see technological roadblocks, and I don't see execution roadblocks. They're one of timing, I think. It didn't come as fast as we wanted it to. It sort of became mature in a market that was struggling, at least for the past 18 to 12 to 18 months. I think those are the biggest roadblocks we see today.
And adding to this inflation crisis, for many operators, 5G still isn't delivering the promised revenues, and added value isn't always there for subscribers as well. Where do you see the 5G monetization opportunities for operators?
Yeah, that's the billion-dollar question. As you said earlier, they've really, as an industry, we've invested billions and billions into the infrastructure. And it's interesting. I was having a conversation not more than a week ago with another industry analyst, and we were talking about the cycles of investment and spend in technology. Like, use a great example. Are the consumers driving the creation of value around technologies like 5G that get delivered, or will it be the enterprises? So a really simple example is, if you think back in the days when BlackBerry was launched and all of a sudden mobile devices became extremely popular with consumers, there was the beginning of the monetization curve, and then enterprises jumped on it, and it sort of fulfilled its mission. You think about the iPhone, same kind of scenario. That technology created a need in the market, and then the monetization followed. If you think about 5G, it's been really interesting because I think many in the industry think that the consumer won't be the focal point of monetization. Why? Because most of us aren't going to pay more money for a 5G experience on our mobile phone yet. Why? Because there's not really a killer app. 4G provides the infrastructure that allows us to stream video and game and do all those things we like to do today. So who wants to pay a premium for what? So the killer application, in my opinion, probably doesn't sit with the consumers right now. It more likely sits in the enterprise space. So we see in the market today a big push. There's huge opportunities to expand network reach for enterprises when we think of things like private 5G and fixed wireless access. I think that's where we're going to see the fastest initial return. And as those returns start to come, then I think you'll start to see consumers will follow. There'll be more 5G access to the home because it'll be convenient. I have my internet and my mobile device and how I work day in and day out all in the same kind of infrastructure. So I think it's really going to start with enterprise. I think private 5G is probably the most likely case, and it's certainly where we're seeing a lot of traction in the market today.
There's a lot of talk, or some may say hype, around AI and automation. But what does this mean in practice for operators? Is it about generative AI and fully autonomous networks, or is it in reality much more mundane and limited to automating and streamlining repetitive tasks?
Well, that's a really good question, and it's probably the talk on everybody's mind right now. What is AI, and what can it do for me as an enterprise? Whether you're an operator or whether you're an enterprise in any one of the verticals. Look, I think it likely starts with automating some of the mundane tasks. If you think about the earlier conversation, operators have invested an incredible amount of money in putting these networks in place. As applications like private 5G and fixed wireless access and others really start to utilize the full benefits of 5G, running the end to end network is going to become extremely complex. And the last thing we need in the industry is for that complexity to turn into human workload that will turn into cost. And then we find ourselves in another economic problem around the return of this technology. So I think today, most likely you're going to see the you use mundane. I'm not sure that it's totally mundane, but automation of tasks that are unnecessary that can be done better through AI that alleviates cost pressures. The future, though, has to be in autonomous networks. For AI, for us to really reap the benefits of AI, whether you're an enterprise or a carrier deploying a 5G network, there's several foundational elements that need to be in place. Data is probably the most important, and it's a role that we're very focused on in Infovista. You asked the question about things to come. People are going to see an exciting shift in our portfolio that really focuses on the information that we can deliver to an operator through the life cycle of the services that we support, planning 5G networks, testing and benchmarking 5G networks, running and optimizing 5G networks. The key there is that all of that produces a wealth of information, and that information is fundamental to making AI work. So that's one big element. The second big element you need to have is a robust automation capability. And I would say carriers today, operators today, are still struggling to get that into full swing. And the third thing they need is the know-how, the process, the intelligence to decide what can be driven fully autonomously through AI, what really needs human intervention, and how do those two things come together to really create the best user experience at the most optimal cost. So, look, AI is a reality. I think anybody would be foolish to say it's going away. I think, like any other technology, it's going to be a crawl, walk, run kind of progression for carriers around the world.
And we often hear that operators need to reduce costs and find new sources of revenue, but there's no silver bullet. How is Infovista helping operators tackle these, sometimes competing needs and pressures?
Well, on both ends, I think, when it comes to reducing costs, let's just talk about that because it's the most simple. I mean, we have a very strong belief that if you can intelligently plan the delivery and the expansion and the optimization of your 5G networks, it inherently saves cost. If you can think about testing and benchmarking and understanding how that deployment is really affecting your end users, you start to create better user experiences, which helps drive revenue and it certainly helps reduce cost. And then operating those networks with an end to end view to that environment, I mean, it's all about saving cost and reducing complexity. The real win for our customers is going to be when they take that data and put it together. What did I plan? How did I test and validate? How is it running in the real world? There's, we say, magic in that information, magic about how your networks are being used, magic about how they've been deployed against what you planned for, and how your consumers are actually using that information. And certainly within that data, how you can improve. So if you can improve how your network runs, you can reduce your cost. If you can improve how your networks operate, you create a better user experience. Better user experience always leads to more monetization. So we're really excited about the future play that Infovista has, in particular in the mobile space, and certainly as they start to reap the benefits of automation and AI from the operational systems that they have to have in place to operate their networks.
These are all very interesting insights. Rick, thank you for sharing your views on the state of the 5G market with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.